So we're looking at learning outcome 5 for Unit 13, Equality and Diversity. Now, as I was just saying, it is quite a nice simple one in here. The learning outcome is be able to review your own contribution to promoting equality and valuing diversity in lifelong learning. And we're looking at 3 points. 5.1 is reflect on your own strengths in promoting equality and valuing diversity. 5.2 is evaluate the impact of your own practice in promoting equality and valuing diversity. And then 5.3 is identify areas for further personal development in promoting equality and valuing diversity.
Okay.
So some of this you may already have some points covered, but we'll get to that in a moment. So today, this learning outcome here is all about self-reflection, self-review, self-evaluation. So you're just going to be looking back at yourself within this. You're going to look at your strengths, your weaknesses. You're going to see what sort of are your strong areas in certain aspects, how you promote things. So it's you really just looking back, judging how you work, observing yourself, and just seeing what your own performance is like.
Okay.
So 5.1, reflect on own strengths in promoting equality and valuing diversity. So here you're just going to carry out a reflective assessment. So I've just put down some tips, and to be honest, you already do this on a daily basis from my talks with you. You're quite good at self-assessment and self-reflection, but I just thought I'll bring things to break them down.
Yeah.
So I'll put down some tips on how to carry out a self-assessment. So you're just going to evaluate yourself. You're going to look at different areas, carry out a self-review about what sort of job enhancement you want to do. You're going to review your lessons, see what you do. Is there something that you want to keep? Is there something you want to change? And I know that after a lesson or after certain teaching, I will actually unconsciously think back and say, oh, okay, that was good, but I was a bit too fast on that, or my slides could have been better on here. So I think we do this unconsciously anyway. Then you're carrying out a self-review to make adaptations. You might want to change something. You might want to enhance your productivity and say, right, I should have looked at this before, or I should have done this instead. And then you can identify your own strengths through carrying out a self-evaluation as well.
Sure.
So write out a list of your accomplishments. So this is a nice thing to do because it's not something we ever focus on. When we're reviewing ourselves, sometimes we just tend to focus on the negatives. But it's nice to focus on positives as well. Think about what you've achieved over the past year, or even within the past few weeks that you've been working and supporting your students. So what have you achieved? What areas went well? What were your successes, and what are you actually most proud of? So these are some nice things that you can focus on. And then again, you can also write a list of your struggles as well. This will help you when it comes to setting improvements. So, with this, you should focus on your good things, but you should also focus on things that need a little bit of enhancement. So think about what could be improved. What areas do you need to work on, and can you identify any gaps or training needs? I know from my very first adult-based lessons that I did. Now, I keep I've worked with children for many years, but then I came into working with adults in 2019. And my very first lesson compared to my lessons now, there's a day and night difference with them. I was underconfident. I hadn't put things down, read properly. I was just ad-libbing completely. I wasn't even looking at my slides to, have some sort of form and structure. And I finished an hour lesson in 20 minutes. And I was like, oh, you can all go now. And it was terrible. But from there to what I did to work on it, it really improved myself. So it's nice to, think back and say, okay, this didn't go so great. What can I do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So just because it's a nice, simple one in here, all you're going to do is carry out a reflective self-assessment. Now, you could refer it to Unit 1, but you've not got to that yet. So what I want you to do is reflect on your own strengths. How do you promote equality and diversity within your setting? So just think back on what you do on a daily basis. What do you do well? What practices do you use? How do you support your students and your colleagues? So with every little part that you talk about, so you could talk about how you pinpoint certain students, or you just make sure that you have a quick chat with them at the beginning of your lesson or in break or at lunch, and then you can put like mini examples next to them. You could put down, you can also use that example of the gentleman that you supported with your printed handouts, because that's a great example of how you went above and beyond to make sure that he was involved within the classes. So put down what you do and just have like a couple of sentences of an example just to support each point. So on to, are you okay with this? Do you want to go over anything?
No, I'm absolutely fine. No.
Yeah, brilliant. So 5.2 is evaluate the impact of your own practice in promoting equality and valuing diversity. So just think back onto what you've done for 5.1. So you've carried out a self-review now, and you're just going to look back at the impact of what you do. So I've put a couple of questions down just to help you. So what is the impact within your own practice of promoting equality and diversity? So do you follow the company policies and procedures? Have you ever had to raise any concerns where necessary? Because of you evaluating yourself in regards to equality and diversity, were you able to adapt and differentiate training material? Have you ever been able to offer support to your learners or your colleagues because of you looking back and finding any gaps or any areas that needed attention? And then again, have you ever thought, okay, this area I'm not 100% sure about. I've looked back, I've seen maybe I can promote someone's equality and diversity, I can help them a little bit better, but I'm not sure how to do it. Have you ever gained feedback from your learners or your colleagues just to help you get some tips and tricks on how to help them? So this is focused on 5.1. So where, you do your self-review, and then you're just going to talk about, so in that part, you just talk about how you value equality and diversity. On here, you're going to tell us what the impact has been because of it. So again, you're just going to carry out an evaluation of your responses at 5.1. Evaluate what you do, how well you do it, and if there's any areas for improvement, on what procedures you'd keep the same, on what you would do different, if you would gain feedback or if you'd gain advice, or are you happy with the way you're, promoting equality and diversity anyway?
Okay.
Yeah. And 5.3, this is the area that I think you may already have. So at the beginning of the course, you're asked to complete a personal development plan. I'm not sure if you've done this with Phil yet. So for 5.3 is identify areas for further personal development in promoting equality and valuing diversity. So on here, if you already have a personal development plan created, I just want you to add this in as an appendix, and then or copy and paste it into your work. So the personal development plan will just help you to identify your areas for your development, and you can also focus it on how you use it to promote equality and diversity. You can also carry out a SWOT analysis, which you may already have done. So do you know those strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where you just put down. So here is an idea of a SWOT. So you've got your strengths, your weaknesses, so things you already got, what you'd like to have or what you want to improve. Then your opportunities, any challenges where you need help from someone. For example, you might have training opportunities, or you might have like job promotion, or somebody wanting to give you more responsibilities. And then threats or any challenges that stand in your way, like family adjustment or finances and things like that. And then personal development.
Can you just keep that up for a second then? Actually?
Yeah.
Sorry, just 2 seconds.
I've got templates if you want me to email them to you.
Of course, you usually send this anyway, don't you?
Yeah, we've got, now I can actually physically email you a proper Word template.
That's fine. I just wanted to get the main headings down. That's quick.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, brilliant. So on your personal development one, you'd have a section where you'd say, what do you want to learn? So you could put down this course that you're doing now. What do you have to do? So you'd attend classes, you'd carry out your assignments and get them marked. What support and resources will that need? So you'd say your tutor, your assessor feedback, and live lessons. Then you put down, how will I measure success? So you could put something down like when I get my feedback on my assignments or when I receive my certificate, and then you put down a date. So then after you've completed this, what is your next step? What's your next step after that, and so on. So you can just have a few points on here. So on here, if you already have a personal development plan that has been done, you've already completed, then just add that in and then put down a paragraph summarizing what sort of areas of development you want to focus on. So for myself, I'd probably put down I like to develop my conflict management, because that is something that I have become better at, but it's something that I still need to work on. It's one of my areas of weaknesses where I do need to be a bit more strict with the way I follow policies and procedures.
Okay.
And then I might say my math skills aren't exactly what I want them to be. They're decent, they're fine, I can get along, but I'd like to maybe take a course on how to teach maths, rather than knowing how to do maths and knowing how to teach it are two different things. So put down your personal development plan, put down a few points in it that you're doing at the moment, what you're looking to focus on. So put down this course, what you've done previously, and then what you're thinking of doing after this. And then just summarize it in a paragraph, just saying that this is what my developmental areas are. These are the points that I want to focus on. And just refer it to equality and diversity slightly.
Okay.
So do you want to go over any of these points?
No, that's absolutely fine.
So I'll just come out of here.
I'm going to try and get this whole unit completed this week and get it sent to you next week so that you've got it. Is it okay? Just drop it into your email account as an attachment,
yeah, that's
fine.
Just drop it into my email account, and then I'll have a look at it. And then if there's anything that needs adding on, I'll just tell you.